Yeah, there are four sets of allegations, revelations, whatever you want to describe them as, relating to four different people. The first, of course, the allegations that we're familiar with, that the Sun splashed with last Friday, the claims about a young person who the parents of that young person had told the paper had been approached by this presenter and had been asked to supply illicit pictures, had been paid amounts of money for that. That is subject, as you mentioned there in your introduction, to a police investigation, potentially, that's still ongoing. It's called a scoping exercise at the moment that Scotland Yard is doing to ascertain really if there is any potential criminality here, and if they believe that there is, then a criminal investigation could well follow. Then, of course, we got the other sets of allegations, revelations that came yesterday with the BBC reporting that the person had suggested that they had met the presenter on a dating app, that they had then come under pressure to meet the presenter, but hadn't, but then also said, because they had suggested that they might reveal who the presenter was online, that they had then been threatened with a number of messages that were threatening and abusive and expletive-laden. Followed on by the Sun newspaper, again reporting today another two sets of allegations relating to another two people. One of those individuals said that they had met the presenter on a dating app and that actually had met the presenter in person during the third COVID lockdown, which was in February of 2021. So that's where we are at the moment. All of these allegations swirling around. We still don't know who the presenter is, or at least we're not, under privacy laws, able to name that presenter, and so colleagues are now starting to come out and call on this presenter to do that, to come forward. The latest being Jeremy Vine, who of course tweeted about this last night, then again today on his Channel 5 programme gave these very strong words to his colleague. This is what he said.
It's his decision, but he needs to come forward now, I think. I know his survival instinct has kicked in, and I know he saw what happened to Philip Schofield, but my God, look at the damage to the BBC. Look at the damage to his friends, to those falsely accused, and the longer he leaves it, the worse it will be for him.
Mark, very interesting what Jeremy Vine says there, and he's not the only one to say that this individual should unmask himself, if you like. But Jeremy Vine is not a lawyer, and there are media lawyers who are saying, no, he does not have to do this. He has a right to privacy. He has not been charged with any criminal offence.
Yes, and although Jeremy Vine and some others are suggesting that this presenter should come forward and speak publicly, as you say, it's not just the lawyers. There are other colleagues and former colleagues who are suggesting or saying that, yes, as you suggest there, the allegations have not been tested in any way, shape or form, really, so we don't know if there is either criminality or indeed inappropriate behaviour that might require some kind of sanction. Given that the presenter should not come forward. In fact, we heard from presenter Richard Bacon replying directly to Jeremy Vine and just saying, stop it, you know, that this person is entitled to their privacy. And we heard from John Sopel, who is also a former BBC presenter until recently, now of course has a series of podcasts on the Global Radio Network, saying that they are aware that this presenter, this unnamed presenter, is very angry at the way that they have been portrayed in the Sun newspaper, that they believe that the Sun is just out there actively digging dirt now to further damage his reputation. So lots of people saying lots of different things, and we're kind of stuck in a limbo where many people who have been on social media will be aware of names that are out there. It's completely unsatisfactory, but privacy laws mean that this person, of course, is entitled to privacy. We can't legally name this person, and so there we are.
And Mark, as you've been speaking, we've seen BBC staffers going in and out there of New Broadcasting House. I don't know if you managed to actually just speak to any of those to gauge the temperature, because one of the other things that Jeremy Vine asserted was that the BBC is on its knees, and one wonders what's going on in terms of the day-to-day running of the corporation.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a bit of hyperbole there, to be honest. I speak to people because I have friends that work at the BBC, and yes, of course, there are people that are very angry, not just potentially at a colleague who might have brought the corporation into disrepute, and I say might have, because, as I say, the allegations have not been properly investigated and tested at this point, but I think also angry just at the way in which, of course, the BBC is being battered and battered and battered by the latest revelations. Some of them, it has to be said, coming, of course, from their own newsroom, who are independent of the corporate structure here and, just like us, are independently pursuing this story and speaking to people. It was, in fact, them, BBC News, that is, that broke the story late yesterday afternoon about that second person that had come forward to allege that they had been the subject of some threatening and abusive and expletive-laden messages from that presenter.
Mark, outside New Broadcasting House, thanks very much indeed for updating us. More, of course, as we get it. But let's just remind you now where this all started, and the claims dating back to 2 months ago, when the presenter allegedly paid a teenager £35,000 for explicit photographs.
A second young person claims they were sent threatening and abusive messages after meeting the unnamed presenter on a dating app.
The third then involving a presenter breaking COVID lockdown rules back in 2021.
The fourth revelation involves the presenter allegedly sending unsolicited messages to a young person over social media.
Well, of course, we'll update you as we get more. Just as Mark was saying, the Metropolitan Police are continuing with what they call their scoping inquiries to establish if a criminal offence has been committed. We'll update you as we get any more developments.